Good evening, everybody. It's Obi-Wan Pez for and Simplex Pachinko. We are going to be working on some more TTRPG prep for TitansGrave, the Ashes of Volcana. And we're going to be working tonight mostly on what did I write in the description? Wow. The visions at the end of Skyside Stronghold, in which they retrieve the Staff of Forlorn Hope and receive their particular visions, which are going to be something from their own lives, which we've sort of co-created. And then they've also got something from the perspective of one of the ancient heroes who they don't really know, but they're going to discover that, I mean, they sort of already figured, like, oh, we must be related to these people, so they're going to be finding that all out. Let's see, lock that there. If anybody is so inclined, and again, thank you so much for consideration. You may have gone out to one of the other many people and donated there instead. So we are running GOtEL, that is Game On 2 and Lupus 2026. So the QR code underneath at the bottom there is a direct link to donate to the Lupus Foundation of America. And we have the other information stuff all the way at the top. So thank you everybody for, again, considering. Lupus is an autoimmune disorder which affects many people. And unfortunately at the moment it is rather a difficult situation that people find themselves in, because we're having unprecedented cuts in science and healthcare. So people with lupus are often being left behind, and now we've also got very little money being put into scientific research to help figure out what is going on with lupus in general. So we're going to come up with a couple little things here. Let's see. Right, so extended tasks and diseases are both part of like mechanical type stuff, so we'll put those all together. And then at the end we'll do our specific party. So I did develop a few interesting ideas in terms of how to do extended tasks. Let's see. Yeah. So, assign a TN to a task in order to make progress. The target number target number should reflect either the difficulty to progress to the next step or the difficulty to make any progress. Decide prior to the session. Yeah, actually. So, player failures. Yeah, half. Half the difference between the roll and TN in hours of work. Alright, so the characters try going down a particular path. You know, they did a science, and either the method that they used or the overall concept of the idea will be incorrect. So if they're like, I want to know if, you know, this blood I found over here belongs to belongs to the victim. It'll be like, all right, so how'd you test it? Okay, well, I did this thing, and I used a DNA checker and all this other stuff, and it's like, it's too contaminated. Which also could be interesting if you're like, what is it contaminated with? Let's see if we can figure that out. And maybe there's a contaminant that was introduced into this person, and so there's a whole bunch of stuff that you can do. You can start changing your plan based on the successes and failures of the party. I found that was rather interesting. We did a couple of those. A couple of changes occurred from the last few sessions. And I've changed my mind on a couple of things that, like, I had ideas in my notes that I was like, nah, you know what? Let's alter my concept just a little bit because I want to take it down this particular rabbit hole. Player successes. Characters, really. characters gain an important piece of information to guide their next move. At the cost of a number of hours equal to the difference between the mid die or the middle die, could go either way, and 7. So chances are, if they succeeded on a particular roll, the middle die, right, the one in the middle of the two extremes, is likely going to be, again, if they succeeded, the middle die is likely to be a 3 or higher. And so in this case, spending 4 hours to make some sort of progress in a particular science task makes complete sense. In the case of failure, right, losing half the difference between whatever they rolled and the target number makes sense because they just made mistakes, or it's something that you can more quickly get a handle on and be like, no, this isn't working right. There's something wrong here. And so generally speaking, yeah, you might end up losing a lot of time. But we're talking like worst case scenario, they roll triple ones. The people who have the science background likely will have, let's say, a 2 for their intelligence, and also gain another 2 for their focus, right? Probably. So that's going to be 4 plus the 3 from the dice, and again, a worst case scenario. So that's going to put them at a 7 roll. And like a minimum task is going to have a difficulty of probably 9 if it's something that they're not sure about. It could be as high as 13 or 15, depending on whatever else is going on. Again, if they rolled triple ones, it's like you did not even realize that the method that you took was just going to never work properly. An example of it's like my party did not really do extended tasks all that much. We've done it once, but I wasn't following these rules. I was still like, oh, you guys are going to do this? Okay, well, I better come up with some rules. And we sort of fleshed out something kind of on the fly. But over the ensuing week or two, this is what I came up with. So I like the idea. So again, worst case scenario, they're going to roll like a 7. Most likely, if they're going to fail, it's not going to be by much. And our gnomish tinkerer is a huge pain in the rear because he has fate dice. So every time they're like, how much did you fail by? 2? No, you didn't. You succeeded. We don't have any problems with failing in this house. So most of the time they're succeeding on whatever roll it is. It might not work entirely. They may end up like failing some other stuff, but nonetheless. Okay, so characters gain an important piece of information to guide their next move at the cost of a number of hours equal to the difference between the middle die and 7. Yeah, again, like I said, with player failures, they're not going to lose a whole lot of time, generally speaking. So again, if they're going to fail, it's going to be like 11 versus 13, 11 versus 15. So that's 2 and 4. So we'll cut that in half and make it 1 to 2 hours to like fail reasonably. And again, failing horribly is just going to be awful. No, hang on. Or the difficulty to... no, the difficulty of solving the... Difficulty of solving, I think they should... difficulty of solving the... the accessible mystery, or accessible parts of the mystery to their current situation decided prior to the session. So don't come into something and be like, we're gonna make this up on the fly. Right, so difficulty of progressing to the next step I will call dynamic, or the difficulty of solving the accessible parts of the mystery to their current situation, that's going to be static. Additionally, each major step of the mystery should have a target value for science points. Partial solves will yield between 1 and 6 science points. At least a 10 SP target value. Depending on the complexity of the task and how much progress we'll need to make in order to fully understand the situation. So it's very possible, for instance, right, my party right now, if they want to be like, I would like to study the radio signal that was sent out that sabotaged our airplane that was on its way to Skyside Stronghold. Right? They would have probably a Like a next step would be you could trace or you could find the source of the signal to one step. So they already know, right, that actually it would have been a good idea. They would, for instance, maybe they would know I guess the first step, right? They would know that it's a radio signal. That's it. Like a log came in. And so it's in the black box. There is a log that says that it registered a radio signal at the exact same time that the autopilot decided to malfunction. So they're like, well, that seems suspicious. I would like more information about that. Okay, well, you're going to have to take that back to the lab in order to really find anything out. Okay, so they take it back to the lab, and then the next, like the next step, right? They succeed. They get like, a few science points or something like that. The next step is they're able to find the, like the heading that the plane had at the time, and also they have, the ship triangulated in what direction the signal came in from. So, it was a signal that was approximately at, our 10 o'clock position, and our heading was at this particular thing. Now they look at the map and go, okay, well, 10 o'clock position, if this was our heading, that's going to be off in this direction. And, okay, where else could it come from? Roll again. Okay, so just by studying the, like, physics of the location, you know that the radio horizon around this place is going to be 300 miles. Okay, so draw a circle within 300 miles. Great, then it's going to be, not only is it in this direction, but the maximum distance is going to be here, so it's somewhere between here and here. Has to be where it came from. Great. Okay, what's next? Well, we found one suspicious location where it could be from, so we'll go there. Okay, when they get there, they're going to have to leave that mystery alone for a while, and like all of the science points that they have accumulated go with them on that particular task. We're chasing this thing down. So let's say they get to a particular location and, there's a radio antenna. Cool. Check the logs. It's got the same sort of stuff going on. Okay, we don't have to roll for this because they've already succeeded doing it in the lab. They could probably figure it out from here. Fix, our gnomish artificer, like has a mini computer that he can do stuff with. So, hook it in, try to download the logs, and or try and do the exact same science on this thing that he already did in the lab. Okay, just roll intelligence computers on this one. You've already got the stuff. You've already got the automated system to do those calculations for you. Right? You've already succeeded. We don't need to know whether or not you have the scientific ability to do it. You definitely do. The question is, what does this yield? Do you, understand it in this moment? If he fails, oh well, looks like it's encoded somehow. What are we going to do? Well, you've got to use some sort of code breaker or whatever to figure it out. You don't have one with you? Okay, well, looks like you're going to have to figure it out in the lab. So now you can roll your science points for this one again. So now we're doing something different. If he succeeds, there isn't any cryptography on it. It just, it's fine. This also allows for him to start gaining power as it goes through. Oh, you failed on this roll. Okay, well, you're going to have to roll some science rolls to accelerate or to create a code breaker. When you make the code breaker, because he's also a tinkerer, so he makes a code breaker, and then now he just has a device that he can bring around, and like, he'll probably take cryptography as his next focus. And also, there's a bunch of other stuff that moves on from there. So, like, this can give them agency and give them some sort of, like, ownership over what have you done? What have you been, like, working on over this level? So eventually, like, oh, we figured out that, we triangulated this position and it goes back over to another one. Okay, where did it originally come from? Now we've got to figure out, going from location to location, where did it originally come from? And probably you only want to do like 1 or 2 bounces, because my goodness, this would be tedious if it was like 5. I think the way that I've got it set up is they didn't ask me when it was set up for this. So in theory, they could ask me when it was that this thing was set up. The code execution. And then the trigger just was relayed through a bunch of stations. Right, so degrees of success, which is the stunt die total, or the stunt die. So in FantasyAGE, you roll 3 dice, 2 of one color and 1 of a third color. And when you do that, and you succeed, the number that is on the stunt die is the number of degrees of success. Shoot. Okay. Should have a science point total. In order to achieve a breakthrough. Oops. Right, average is 3.5 SP per success. Actually, that's not necessarily true. just, it's about 3.5 for success. It's not true, because 6s will happen more often on successes, and 1s will happen more often on failures. So, right, it's going to average, probably it's going to skew a little bit higher than 3.5 per success, but is okay. We'll call the average about 4 to 5 SP for success. Good enough. So it is still possible to get only 1s on successes. It's just slightly less likely than getting 6s on successes. Because again, even though it's a random die roll, it's essentially survivorship bias, right? So we end up tending slightly higher on successes than we do on failures, of course. Okay, so there's like different things that we're looking for. Assign a target number to a task in order to make progress. Or the difficulty of making the next breakthrough. All right, most mysteries should have at least a 10 science point breakthrough target value, depending on the complexity of the task and how much progress the party will need to make in order to fully understand the situation. Okay, so failures. Player progress. Okay, this. So we'll go like this. Heading 4. Progress. Player failures versus player successes. That's what we've been talking about for the last 5 minutes, but nonetheless. Good evening and welcome, Zach. How's it going? This isn't even what I was going to work on tonight, but you know what? I'm already here and I've got ideas written down, and I'm probably about half done. How's it going? Yeah. So TitansGrave, the Ashes of Volcana, is a TTRPG that Will Wheaton helped to co-write back in 2014, I think. Yeah, there we go. Okay, here's the playlist for it. He co-wrote this with a large team, some of whom were members of Green Ronin Publishing, who put out the FantasyAGE system. So it is a 3d6 system rather than a 1d20 system, which makes it rather interesting. I mean, just that by itself makes it pretty interesting. FantasyAGE is kind of your standard, TTRPG, fantasy, magic and swords and whatever setting, very much like D&D. TitansGrave, however, is the techno-fantasy version of this. So they have a whole bunch of... this is Jeremy. He was Hank Green's... Yes, that Hank Green. Hank Green's companion. He was playing Ayuh, who is this Saurian character here. And so they worked out a whole bunch of rules about having like laser weapons and doing all sorts of fun technological stuff. And they've got a city that's got a stadium and modern the modern trappings of standard city type stuff. Oh, that was terrible. Oh, yep. That's Keg E. Sparking robot. Unfortunately, he was a little bit banged up. So yeah, they've got a bunch of characters running around in this. He got Hank Green, Yuri Lowenthal, Allison Hayslip, and Laura Bailey from Critical Role to be on this. His son, Ryan, was one of the co-writers, as well as, like I said, people from Green Ronin Publishing, who put out the original FantasyAGE, and Jackson Lansing, who is a comic book writer, and also the main writer on another TTRPG called Vast, which is one that I also would like to write up as like doing this. Not anytime soon, but possibly when this campaign is over and I'm happy with it. Happy with it. So right now I'm working on extended tasks, specifically the science tasks, because my characters in the party that I'm currently running through this game, some number of, well, at this point, months ago, decided that they were going to solve a murder mystery that landed in front of them, and I was like, I wasn't planning on this. Okay. So they just decided that they were going to solve a murder mystery, and I was like, all right. So they went in and they, they basically did all the forensics. And then they brought that all back to the lab, and I was like, let's do some rolls, I guess. And in standard TTRPG fashion, the rolls determine... I mean, that's true. I'm very permissive when it comes to a lot of this stuff, because I also would like to see where they're going with this. They don't know either. Neither do I. Who's running this ship? But Yeah, I told them at the beginning, it was like, I'm very rule of cool. Like, if you're doing something that's probably going to break the game, like, as long as it makes sense, I'm not gonna be like, no, that's not gonna happen. Like, let's see where this is headed. So yeah, they were like, let's do forensics, and they ran through a whole list of stuff that they were going to do, and I was like, let's just see, let's roll. And like I had an intended idea, and then as it started, as their roles started succeeding in a particular direction, I was like, okay, let's see if we can sort of bend it toward the thing that I want. And then by the end of the session, there was some established rules of like what's going on that I had not intended at all. But it was really neat. And then I started writing that into the campaign and being like, okay, so let's make sure that this is added in. And then after it was all done, I kind of like checked my notes versus where I wanted it to be. And I was like, hey, so just to let you all know, um, like, here's some additional information, or here's a correction to something that I said that, like, over the course of the thing, I probably contradicted myself. So, just I made sure that everything was kind of rectified back into the correct line. Yes, and yep. I know, right? It was so much like being back in front of a classroom. Be like, yeah, let's see where this is going. Some of my finest work is created by the students in the few moments. Oh, that there was that one trig equation that was like tangent to the fourth of theta minus secant to the fourth of theta is equal to, I think it's 2 minus 4 tangent squared of theta or something like that. I can't remember if it's that it's a identity, and you're supposed to prove the identity works. And every single semester somebody did it different. I was like, let's go, let's do it. You want to prove it that way? Let's go. And it worked like 90% of the time. All right, so for individual progress, in order to gain SP, again, we've got on player failures. They lose half the difference between their role and the target number in terms of work, hours of work. Characters. Really? Why did that not work? Oh, is that the problem? No, that was... Never mind. The bot is in my chat. It says so right there. Well, harumph. Well, we're just going to have to manually make it happen. No? How dare. Anyway. Well, it's just not going to work right now. So mean. Psh. Well, anyway. So, player successes. Characters gain an important piece of information to guide their next move at the cost of a number of hours equal to the difference between the middle die and 7, which again, on a success, is bent more toward 6 than it is toward 1, especially since it's the middle die. Characters gain SP equal to the student. Gain a number of SP equal to the stunt die roll. Player failures, player successes. So we talked about it before. Is equal to the difference. Breakthrough Girl is now more in reach. Characters. Information gained. May alter their trajectory or fill in information that they did not have before. Further tests should be made for novel approaches. There should come up with next steps and not and not merely say something like, yeah, I'm just going to go again. Let's do the science further. Like, there may be people, right? There may be players who do not understand the way that, like, actual science works, or might not be able to understand or articulate what it is that they want their characters to do. But, like, if they describe to you what they think is going on, or how they feel something is working, like how the science is, what is the science showing us, then they could say, like, you know, well, I want to figure out blank. I want to know what the connection is between these two things. And then, like, you as the GM can fill in some of the blanks, especially those of us who have, you know, Orange Phoenix. Oh my goodness. I don't think I even remember putting that on there. That's awesome. Good evening and welcome. We're working on some TitansGrave this evening, trying to figure out some cool little bits, and working on this TTRPG from 2014, co-written by Will Wheaton and his son Ryan, and cartographer Andy Law, and a whole bunch of the people from Geek Sundry and Green Ronin Publishing all came together and did this FantasyAGE adventure series. So I've been working on it for basically 12 years. Knew that I wanted to run it. I ran it for some of my friends back in Maryland, and it was okay. But I didn't really have a grip on, like, how to be a good DM, GM, whatever. And I have many more notes this time. So we have basically like that much there and that much there are all just filled with ink at this point. And we've got, that much to go. So I think we're in good shape. I mean, like, I didn't think about it for a while, right? I was more interested in getting a bunch of other stuff done, but yeah, I've been kind of thinking about it on and off for, roughly speaking, 12 years, and then during this last year and a bit, I was playing D&D with some of the people that I met here in England, and they're mostly Americans, but still. And then it came to the end of our campaign, and people were like, so, like, what do we want to do? And I said, I'll tell you what, I've got two. I've got one, the Electric State, which I was like, I definitely want to work this. I had worked out a campaign setting in my hometown in New Hampshire, and I was like, I'd kind of want to work this out. And people are like, so what's the world? And I explained it a little bit, and they're like, it's kind of depressing. I don't think we want to do that one. Like, all right, cool. So we went with the techno fantasy version there. Oh yeah, the EDRPG. I watched when Astacon did that with Psyche and Taco Trash Can and Brosab. Who was the fourth person? Oh no. Imagination, but not the focus. Yeah. Dr. K, that's it. Yeah. So when the four of them were playing that, I was really into it. And that's wild, because Odyssey came out pretty close to when the TTRPG did. So they're talking about, like, running across a settlement and throwing grenades and stuff, and I was like, it was very cool. Yeah, okay. Ads are going to start in a minute. Typical 3-minute ad break. I'm going to go toss my coffee cup downstairs because that's done. And going to recommend everybody go. The whole grenade situation was wild. Yeah, I'm going to go maybe grab a snack or something, and recommend that everybody else cycle that water. Go get another glass. Go get a snack, stand up, stretch, fight, do all that stuff. And we'll see you in 3 minutes. Thank you, everybody, for coming, and we'll do some more planning when we get back. Righto. So, I realize that there's going to be a bit of a accountability situation here in that you can't really see me. But I promise you I'll do 25 push-ups. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. Good times. And not attached to anything good. Tonight, we are hashtag not sponsored. I did stop counting in there somewhere to breathe, but you know, it's alright. Hashtag not sponsored by Badger Brewing Company. Tonight's in memoriam for the badger and fox that we saw hit on the side of the road this evening. This one is Red Rascal Cherry Mild. I like it. Very cherry. BRB, yes sir. And for anybody else, oh man. If you do not know Commander Orange Phoenix, for the most part, he does Elite Dangerous type streaming, and often goes and finds Kit Kats to eat. Back with beer. Nice. Hey, I'm not making any judgments. I'm also not going to make fun of anybody for their particular proclivity. Anyway, if you are interested in Elite Dangerous type stuff, if you're interested in nice guy streamer type stuff, head on over to Orange Phoenix's channel and check things out. Did you rebrand the commander out of your name, or am I just like Mandela affecting? Because that's also possible. I think 4. There we go. Once the party has reached their science point goal for an extended task, they're entitled to the information covered, excuse me, in your lore. Including any modifications made by the extended task itself. This may include information that the party did not directly discover, but I'm trying to think. Like, in my example, right, the party was trying to figure out the murder mystery that they stumbled across. And they were like, okay, so we're going to try and I'm going to create a genetic modification scanner. I was like, I mean, it's in the book. You're allowed to do that. So they spent like, an evening working on this thing. And then I'm trying to think. What did they do? They tried to figure out if the disease, the murder, as far as they knew, this guy had just dropped dead, and they were like, seems suspicious. So they were trying to originally figure out if it was like a genetic modification or something like that. No. They already had the scanner by that point. They asked if they could use the genetic modification scanner to figure out if the guy had been genetically modified. I said they were getting a... Shoot. They were getting a positive signal, I think. Oh, they might have actually been getting a negative, but it was actually genetically modified. But I intended... Oh, that's what it was. I said no. And then when I went home, I thought about it, and I was like, you know what? It probably is. Fix. Here we go. Here's the fix, not fix the character. Here's the fix. We're going to say that they are unable to scan it using the thing that he made, because it is a broad scanner, not a depth scanner. And so, like... in the next thing, they went back to one of the people that they knew, and she was like, hey, so I saw you scanning some of the stuff just around my shop. You probably won't be getting much based on, this stuff. You probably just get like a general sense of like, yeah, there's stuff that's magical in the emitted area, but you're not going to like really be able to pinpoint what it is or to figure out what the like effect is of that particular thing. And they're like, "Oh, what do you mean? Why not?" And she says, "Well, you are doing like a very broad scan, and you're not doing like a deep scan into the thing." And so they're like, "Oh, well, could we like modify our machine to do that?" And she was like, "Yeah, sure, I'll tell you how to do it." And I asked, him to roll, and his tinker rolls are like almost a minimum of 20. I mean, it's just ridiculous. This is a 3d6 system, so typically your rolls are between 3 and 18, and then they get modified based on like your skills and stuff. So yeah, his rolls tend to be, his tinker rolls tend to be over 20. It's bonkers. But anyway. So for instance, if they were doing a science roll on stuff and like they're trying to use their scanner in order to find something, the breakthrough might be, for instance, that they're discovering that this disease is a genetic modification disease. Like it's a retrovirus essentially. It like changes. That's not exactly what the thing is, but yeah. It's essentially a retrovirus where it's like modifying the cells themselves to do its bidding, to replicate and all this stuff. So that's the goal. So if they make the breakthrough, but they were just using a crappy scanner to do it, or they didn't know that there was even such a thing as a deep scanner, like that could be their reward for this, is that it's not quite working the way you want it to. So you seem to be getting a broad scan rather than a deep scan, and you are pretty sure that this is a genetically modified disease, but then you're also going to need to like have this bit of information that you're going to need to make a deep scanner to get any more information out of this thing. Like you've reached the limit of your ability with your current equipment. So that sort of thing. Alternatively, they may additional information from other NPCs. In order to find new threads to pull on. So something like that. Okay. So, the party that we have currently, we have an Orean rogue. This is a robot named Bixby, and over the course of the game so far, I discovered that I should give him, like, that's his designation, Bixby, and then I was like, I've got it. I'm going to give all of the Oreans a designation, which is going to be a name, like a unique name, their company of origin, and then their function. So in this case, I was like, I've got it. BIGS, B for binary integrated, discrete, a mobile discrete processing unit. I mean fair. So my this probably comes more or less from, I don't know, just obsession of attention to detail, but at the same time, like, this sort of thing doesn't happen in my work. So, damn. And then I discovered, okay, if I do this, and I accidentally found this out when I just like wrote, I was trying to come up with different like methods of getting designations to become other characters. So the other Oreans, I came up with specifically 4 characters that I wanted to include here. And then I came up with their names, which would allow me, the designations over on the left, which would allow me to manipulate everything into into what they're, yeah. Hey, wait a second. Because I was like, I needed a BBEG for this campaign. I was like, there isn't one. There's there we go. There's the Prophet, who is a Saurian woman, who is like the legendary mage from 500 years ago, who just absolutely murdered everybody. And she was there to destroy technology in order to return people back to the natural way of life of, using magic, specifically using magic only. I was like, in 2014 when I ran it, I was like, I mean, maybe, but like, it feels weird to just have that, like, that's her big goal, is just to like eliminate technology. It kind of sounds stereotypical, I guess, of certain like anti-tech, pro-magic, like, alright, I guess. And then I wrote to Ryan Wheaton, this is Will's son, and I was like, so, with your intent, I know that everybody who writes, they're going to come up with their own thing. But, like, what if essentially the Prophet is basically trying to save the planet from climate change or whatever? Like, that's basically, like, my idea. And he was like, I mean, go for it, because, they weren't going to get a second season of the show or whatever. So he was like, yeah, just run with it, see where it takes you, and let me know sometime in the future. Hi, Ryan. So he's not watching. So then I was like, okay, what do I want for a BBEG? And I was doing this last year. What do I want for like a big bad guy? So I started flipping through the FantasyAGE bestiary, and I was like, okay, we've got like Basilisk. Okay, it's not going to be probably what I want. Burrower, not smart enough. Amit, okay, cool. We could go Egyptian. There are imps, Mothman, and I'm like, okay, I need something that's got like a little bit more oomph to it. Maybe a demon lord, right? That could be cool. And then I flipped to... I flipped to Charnel Knight. And so I'm like, Death Knight. Okay, that seems fun. And then I look down here to plot hooks. And this one at the bottom says, The Four Horsemen. And I went, yes, they are. And I was like, okay, so where are we going with this? How is this going to work? There are, war, famine, death, pestilence, and death. Okay, how, what's the impetus behind all of this? And I remembered my tweet, or DM, I guess, in Twitter that I sent over to Ryan Wheaton, and I was like, she's fighting climate change. She's trying to destroy technology in order to, convert the world essentially back to not having technology. So then I was like, these guys are doing the same thing. So I was like, okay, where do we get that from? So we take the Four Horsemen, and they were creations of a saurian scientist who had a bit of a flair for the dramatic. Okay, we go back far enough. It's somebody who also discovered that this massive climate change thing was happening. So what did they want to do? They wanted to basically cut technology off at the knees, destroy civilization, and knock us back down to basic small societies, right? Small cities instead of these mega cities. And I was like, okay, maybe that. And so I was playing around with it a little bit, and I was like, okay, what else? How, what in the history is going to make this happen? And the history of Valkana is naturally left a little vague, but in it said that there was an ancient race that had decided, tens of thousands of years ago, they basically terraformed the planet, seed the world with life, and then left, and just have never been back. And I was like, that's it. It's going to be that, essentially, it's the, ancient technology from back then is going to be like, this is not what we planned. Start over and try to wipe everything off the face of the planet, basically. But at the same time, they have to be hidden. So not even the return of the caretakers, although potentially that could be the next stage of the campaign if they were to get to level 15 or whatever. I found these guys. The Eldritch Crown. And I was like, a technological version of the Eldritch Crown where each of these guys, each of these robots is being controlled by a piece of technology from the caretakers. Now, they're going to be willing participants, essentially. But these Eldritch Crowns are going to be altering their programming and stuff like that to make them, they're going to be pseudo-magical, but at the same time. So now we've got this mixture of magic and tech working at the same time. The crowns are going to be the ultimate control because they're from the caretakers. They are basically nanobots that are still trying to execute the old program. And they use magic to try and make this all work, to try and fix everything, to change it back to the terraforming that they were originally programmed for. Whatever this has become, this wasn't what was planned. Nuke it all. right? Start over, try again. That's going to be like their ultimate goal. When the party kill off any one of the robots, the crown is going to be loot. So, right? It's going to be massively powerful. It's going to give them the power of each of these things. So, they have met war. War's basic premise is, well, first of all, I took the Orean and I gave him, where is it? I gave him exclusively quotes from Sun Tzu. And so, like, he comes out and he just starts quoting Sun Tzu, and like four of the people are around the table and they're all like, okay, he's quoting something. I'm just reading off of my phone. Like I took down a whole bunch of notes into my thing, and it's like every situation that they come into, every situation that they had, like, they try to do something, he'll basically counter with a piece of the art of war and then react. And the one guy who actually had read the art of war was not there that night. And so he comes in the next day, and they're like, yeah, he's just like quoting something. And he's just quoting something. And he says, what were the exact words? And I said them out loud, and he goes, that's fucking Sun Tzu's Art of War. And he looks around the table, and everybody's just giving blank looks. He's like, how have none of you read Sun Tzu? So I'm going to go find 3 other books that the other 3 are going to maybe loosely quote, not as much as War, but War's skills, 100%. He has installed a piece of tech in every single one of his followers, which is technological in origin, and it's basically a shot collar for fence. So if you go outside of yeah, if you go outside of a certain range, you get electrocuted, and likely you're just going to die because you went outside of the range of this particular thing. So like all of his followers have to stay within a certain distance, or else they're going to die. And then magically, so tech, right, is the shot caller. Magically, he induces buffs in his allies and debuffs in his enemies. So, like, and not to mention that he's got like a 7-foot bastard sword and a like 3.5-foot short sword. I laughingly refer to it as a short sword. They're like, why do you find that amusing? And I'm like, 'cause it's as big as you would probably have a long sword. Like, yeah, it might be a dagger for you or for him. But next break, I'll go get the I'll go get the minis that I got. Also, laughably, minis. They're like at least twice as large as my largest minis of my personal characters. So, he big. They're like, how tall is he? I'm like, I don't know, like 10 feet. I don't think I want to fight him. Probably a good choice. So I created all of their designations, and I was like, what do I want to do for Bixby? And I was like, this is it. It's not that I came up with Bigs because that's close to Bix, and then B. I was like, that's cool. We'll add that in. And then the original art that was given to me by the character by the player who's running the character said that basically he's got a CRT screen for a head, and it's probably just like some random piece of scrap that the tinkerer found. And I was like, yes, it is. And then I figured out that if I substitute everything after the I up to the B with a variable X and the other stuff that was missing with a Y, I can literally get just Bixby. I was like, that's how he came up with the name. And I texted the two guys, the guy playing Bixby and the guy playing the Gnomish Tinkerer. I was like, in my headcanon, this is what happened. And they both took one look at it and were like, absolutely, 100%, let's do it. So, his name is Bixby. He's got a CRT for a head. That's what we got. And the character has no memory beyond when Fix woke him up. So it's kind of like what do we do? How far are we taking a bunch of this stuff? And so there's a lot of really cool stuff going on. Must have a strong neck, yeah. He's an absolute klepto, and the player is a chaos demon. Like he has been an absolute chaos goblin since day one of our original campaign a year and a half ago. He went and he was just like, yeah, I'm just going to pick stuff up. I'm like, really? He will constantly go to people and be like, yeah, I kind of want that. And I'll just be like, fascinating. And he's like, can I have it? I'm like, most RPGs, yeah. And then Fix and Bixby decided to become police officers at the first town that we had the first encounter at. Episode 0 was essentially everybody was given the choice. Your character could work for the police, for the gang, or just be like a teamster. Like trying to just you're there for a paycheck, you're just moving stuff. Like who do you work for? So Bixby and Fix decided that they were going to be police officers. And it wasn't like they did it on purpose necessarily. They just decided that they needed money. This was something that they could do. Kit is a Felid wild folk Batariamancer. This is a wild combination. So Felid wild folk, she's a cat. Cat person. And Batariamancers are people who basically can store their magical energy into a battery and then reclaim it at will. So, of course, she's a lightning caster. And she decided to work for the gang, the Red Hand, as a teamster. So just somebody who is moving stuff. As soon as our episode 0 started with, I'd been talking with the 3 groups separately. So Kit was the only person who was a teamster. And I was like, okay, so you've seen these other 2 guys around, the ones who work for the gang. And, you've seen them around, you know who they are, but, they're just here to provide protection. It's a little weird that they're here to provide protection for you, just moving stuff. You've fallen on hard times. You need heavies to make sure that people don't steal the stuff. But, it's a little strange. And then the other 2 guys, Cog, the human monk, and Dorton, the orcish warrior, were straight up mercenaries who were working for the Red Hand gang. So they're working for the gang. Cog's been in it forever. 80-year-old. 80-year-old enforcer. And he had cybernetic enhancements. Why is he still working at 80? Because he owes them money due to, 1, embezzlement, and 2, they supplied him cybernetic enhancements. So he owes them money as far as they're concerned. Why is Dorton there? He's just there, get money, get beer, or die trying. So we had Dorton and Cog who were there, providing security, and then the police were given their own briefing ahead of time that, they've got some drone footage of the inside, and then on breach, they smash the doors open, and they all rush in. These 2 guys went in one direction. I think they came in through the garage door, basically, whereas the other guys, the NPC police, came in the 2 back doors. As soon as that happened, Kit tries to run out one of the doors, and the place is surrounded by police. They're all like, "Get on the ground," and she's like, "Nope," and ducks back in, and she's like, "Okay," and just starts electrocuting all the police. And this is level 1, mind you. She had an area of effect lightning spell that did 10 penetrating damage, which means that it ignores their armor because it's electricity. Absolutely slaughtered 5 police officers. She wasn't too particular about the gang members, so 2 NPC gang members got caught in whatever lightning she had thrown down. This encounter was let's just practice with your characters, in addition to, you all need to meet somehow. So the warehouse breach, the SWAT entrance, is how half of the party met the other half of the party. Eventually, the police have overwhelming numbers. They're going to win eventually, no matter what. So they eventually come in. They non-lethally shoot everybody, eventually get them down, or tell them to get on the ground. And eventually, I think one of our guys was like, fine, put his hands behind his head, because everybody's down, and he's just like, all right, well, I see a losing proposition. And then I can't remember if Kit had to be put down. So I think she might have gotten shot. And then one of the NPCs made it into the truck and tried to run. And Bixby jumped up into the cab and like beat him senseless. Oh no, it was Fix. It was the little guy, the gnomish tinkerer. He got into the cab and he was like, "I told you to stop." And the guy's just like, and he's like about to hit the brake, and Fix just like beats him senseless with his magical wand. Knocks him out, stops the truck in the middle of the road. So they all go back to the police station. They're all going to, like, they have the way I had them introduce themselves to each other was then the two police officers went and got their asses chewed out by the chief of police because they absolutely murdered people. They absolutely murdered some gang members. And like after one guy surrendered, he was like the informant essentially. He surrendered, and like the robot smacked him over the head until he got on the ground. And I was like, and he goes, "I told him to get on the ground," and I was like, "It wasn't his turn yet." like Bixby had another turn before this guy had his turn, and he's like, "That's not my fault." Oh my god damn it. And then yeah, so they introduce themselves to the rest of the table, and while they're getting their asses chewed out by the chief of police. And then when they go down to one by one do the interviews for all the three characters who were on the gang side, I had them introduce their characters while they're doing their like interrogations. So I was like, this actually worked really well. And then once everybody's done, they go back down. The two Fix and Bixby start discussing what they want to do, and the wall essentially gets blown open, and they're like, "What is going on?" And it's war. Now, they didn't know it because I rolled like absolute shit. I rolled for all of the gang members to then start infiltrating into the police station while the police are trying to hold them back at the same time. So the police were just constantly defending the police station, while like only a row of gang members was able to get in at one time. And I'm like, So they never saw war come in, which was my intent in the first place. So like, they get a glimpse of the guy, run, we're out of here, because like this guy's a friggin' death knight. There's no chance. So they run down to the cells. The detective that they spied pocketing an artifact from the evidence, like they saw him pocket something from evidence, and they're like, "That's really suspicious. I don't think I trust him anymore." So they make it down to the cells, down to the holding cells, and he's like, "Here's this thing. You need to get it to the big city, which is like, I don't know, 200 kilometers or something like that." And so they're like, "I mean, I guess." Sure, why not? And he's like, you, the five of you, need to stick together. These people are going to be after you now. So you have to figure out like how to get along and all that. He gets shot by like some gang members who come in the back door. The party then, mostly unarmed, now has to get through there and then out the door. Once they do, they're into the city, they run. They just keep running. About like a kilometer away, they kind of like have a second, and then all their pictures show up on like all the screens around the town, and it's like, you know, you all are wanted for questioning and all this stuff, and they're like, what did I do? And you know, they now have to get out of the town. Once they do that, the scene's over, and we say, okay, so you've spent the next month getting acquainted with each other. So now you all are going to advance to level 2. What did you work on? What did you figure out about each other? What relationships do you have? What, whom do you now trust that you never thought you would, and why? And we come up with a few of these, prompts that they fill in the blanks for all of the things. None of them wanted to do it. It was, it was a little sad. But they were just like, yeah, I mean, like, we're not very good at this. I'm like, fine. So we tried coming up with a few little scenarios and things like that. But then it was like, okay, you guys find yourself in this town over here. They tell you where you need to go, and you're going to head in that direction. But on the way, you come into a specific area, and now you're at the roadhouse. And so at the end of a long day of walking, they finally make it to the roadhouse. They're all newly minted level 2 characters. They've all got these different relationships and things going on. And so, like, that's the end of day 1. So I thought it was a very productive session 0. And the way to do it, I think, worked out pretty well. It originally in the source material, it's like you sit down at the table, you have your character. Great. Let's jump into the character creation stuff, which is just that, like, you're creating a group of random people who have come together to do this thing. And I was like, there is no way that we're just going to jump into this. We need some sort of, like, event at the beginning. And so I built this SWAT breach scenario. And I thought that was an interesting way to do it. It sort of worked the first time I did it. It worked way better this time. Thanks for letting me just blather on. Anyway. Right, I still don't have a start for Dorton. Oh, no, I do. That's right, I came up with one. Haha. Ah, there we go. Yeah, here we go. So, I'm going to have to hand out X cards. So we established at like the beginning that through the history, we know that the Saurians were a highly technological race going all the way back as far as, like, they were the first species to reach high-tech levels. And so they tried to, like, take over the world, essentially. And then the elves were also almost the same technology, tried to stop them. So there was a fight between the Saurians on the northern continent and the elves on the southern continent. And then the elves were like, yeah, you guys are, like, you know, you're the elves had like a confederation of of all the other races that were around. They were the ones who like led the charge and were the high-tech species down there. The Saurians were the high-tech species to the north. They enslaved the other races. So specifically the dwarves, who were their tinkerers and engineers and stuff like that. And then the orcs, who were their enforcers. And so there's a lot of baggage between the orcs and the Saurians. Dorton established on session 0 that he is absolutely 100% racist against Saurians. Like, does not like them, will go to the grave, like, just is an out and out horrible racist. I was like, okay. So I established through his backstory that as a child, he and his friend Sadia, who is Saurian, are playing tag and talking about becoming great warriors just like the old stories. And then in a forceful bass voice, he hears, Dorton. He then says, hi, Dad. I need to go. See you tomorrow. And your father, usually not the parent who picks you up, tugs your arm, placing a pincer grip on your shoulder, leads you away from the school. The walk home is silent until you're within the sight of your door. I don't want you associating with one of them anymore. And from there, there's a he gets a couple of backhands. As I said, we're going to need some X cards. And like Dorton essentially, because of this, slightly dissociates and is just like, there's this wild injustice about the situation. But at the same time, another singular mantra comes into his head, which is, I will never forgive you for this. And over the course of the next hour, the thought of, I will never forgive you for this, begins to project, instead of on his father, projects onto Sadia. So then, I can never forgive you comes out of his lips on the next day to her directly. And she's like, what did I do? And so he says that essentially a piece of his mind feels like it finally fits into place, as if the heritage going all the way back to the years of injustice is now finding its correct place in his mind. And like that's the justification behind his absolute racism. It's not right. It's not nice. I'm quite possibly going to not make it through this without bursting into tears. But nonetheless, then he's going to get another vision of an ancestor of his who is an Orcish woman who is pregnant with a Saurian child. And again, we see this play out. The hero comes in, finds them together, and is absolutely furious, takes her away, and in breaking them up, she says to him, "I'll never forgive you for this." Okay. I'll come back in 3 minutes and let you know precisely why we are doing GOtEL this month. So, yeah, we'll be back in 3. Thank you so much, everybody, for coming, and we shall return. Righto. So, why we support the Lupus Foundation of America. Multiple of our friends here on Twitch, Coco Confession, 8-Bit D, and Elbel are three examples of people. They're the only ones I can think of off the top of my head. Streamers on Twitch who have been doing GOtEL for multiple years. That is Game On to End Lupus. And all three of them have lupus themselves. So the goal of GOtEL, as well as the Lupus Foundation of America, is to offer direct assistance as well as support research into what lupus is, how it affects people, and what the causes are. At the moment, the climate is a little hostile to science in America. So unfortunately, a lot more of the Lupus Foundation of America's funding is going toward direct assistance because a lot of the science projects have been cut. So for some reason, politicians are not seeing very much use in supporting scientific missions, despite the fact that it would be a very good investment to get people with lupus to be able to work as much as they want. So anyway, this is our second year running that we've done some work of GOtEL. Yep. Yep, I've certainly seen some of your campaigns. Okay. We're also going to run a redeem called Ayuh. Perhaps the government has been watching too much House. I think they pretty much just want to give money to their friends. Just a... Yeah, yeah. No, I get it now. Took me half a second. So we do a redeem here called Ayuh, in which we share a vocabulary word of John Gould's Maine Lingo, a wicked good guide to Yankee vernacular. I was born in New Hampshire. I have been living next to Maine for basically half of my life. And people from down east Maine, so not necessarily all of Maine, but specifically the part of Maine that kind of goes like that, has that little dip in it. Up near a town called Bar Harbor, or Bahaba, have a very particular accent and way of speaking and way of communicating with their friends and family and outsiders, which first became something of note to two guys who were students at Yale in like the 60s, I think it was, by the name of Robert Bryan and Marshall Dodge. And the two of them heard from like one of their friends some sort of accent and some sort of way of communicating stories. And they were like, there is no way in hell people actually talk like that. And he's like, I'm telling you, everybody up in this area in Maine, down east, speaks like this. And they're like, come on. And so some spring break, the two of them decided that they were going to go up to down east, possibly with the third friend, and started listening to it. And they were like, oh my God. We need to tell other people about this. And B, there was a concern among particularly the older people in Bar Harbor that like the younger generation just wasn't like just the TV and whatever. It was that the younger generation took really no interest in the history or culture of that area. The place where they grew up. And so a lot of the storytelling style was going away. People just weren't telling stories like this anymore. And the two of them decided, you know what? We're going to preserve this as a matter of like anthropology, essentially. And so they started just recording people speaking and recording people telling stories, and eventually created their own series called Bert and I, or as they would have it, Bert and I. And it was the story of two guys, Bert and Virgil, who owned a boat called the Bluebird that went out doing, I think it was lobster fishing. And it started kind of as that story, and then it also expanded into like a whole bunch of little vignette stories. There is the story of Jacques Trudeau, Champine Mouscolaire of Montréal. There is a number of stories told by Virgie from his perspective. There are a number of stories told by like various people in the town, and it goes on and on. I've wanted for a long time to actually do one, like basically do a stream where I just start telling the stories of Bert and I. But I can't find a transcript for it. Like, there's a couple of them that are online, but not the whole album. And then I'll have to go and actually buy the CDs and stuff like that. But at the same time, a lot of them are on vinyl or cassette and not CD. And I'm like, oh man, come on. There was also one that was, they've also consolidated like the best of, and I was like, no, I don't want the best of. I want like all of them. So it's a challenge. So anyway, in the spirit of Bert and I learned a lot of the Down East Maine accent, and I go through John Gould's guide and list either one or two new vocabulary words for you. So, we're going to start with one that is about as close to orange as we can get, which is Orts. O-R-T-S. Orts. A good Old English word, mostly lost but surviving in Maine. Originally, it meant the leavings of inedible hay in a cow's manger, and farmers clean the earths from animals' cribs from time to time. Mainers then extended the meaning to other leavings, To take Orts out to the hens means to carry the table scraps or sink swill dish into the barnyard. While Orts is now used generally in a context that can include culch. A distinction is indicated when somebody says, "Tomorrow morning, I want you children to pick up the Orts and culch in the dooryard." Orts. And then we'll flip to a different page. Double runner. Traverse sleds, either for hauling logs or for fun coasting. One of the sleds is properly termed a bobsled, but when teamed up with cross chains or ropes to make a rear sled track with the front, double runner was used, and sometimes double bobsled. Double runner. So yeah, there was actually kind of a lot of people in my area, which is like southeastern New Hampshire, closer to the seacoast, who grew up not very far from the main border. There's a place called Kittery, where it's just across the border, maybe like 5-10 minutes, where they had a trading post, which you could buy like any outdoorsy stuff that you needed there. You know, you need long johns, you need big coats, you need hats, gloves, you need sporting equipment for like skiing or shooting sports. Like they had in they had both bow and rifle and shotgun hunting equipment. Like anything you want, you pretty much go to Kittery Trading Post and you'll be able to get it. So if you go to Kittery, people don't generally speak like down east. Down east is another like 2 hours up the coast. You have to pass Augusta, and you have to pass Gray, Bath, like all the places named after Irish places. You have to pass a bunch more before you finally get to Bar Harbor. Bar Harbor was probably another half hour past where my grandmother lived for a long time. And going up to her barn, was always interesting. She was living in a house with attached barn. And the barn was uninsulated completely. But they would store all of the wood in there that you'd bring in. Like it would season out in the barn, and then you'd take in pieces to use in the wood stove. Wood stoves are an absolute must in New England, like everywhere in New England. Bread in a can, fluff and nutters. Oh my god, yes. Oh, that's wonderful. Expeditionary Force. Is that like a Warhammer? Probably not, but nonetheless. Kayad. Oh my goodness, yes. That's awesome. I don't think I've actually read, or even I've heard of it, but Okay. He lives in South Hero, Vermont. That is that tracks. Pretty much all of us in in New England are like, oh yeah, down east. Yeah. There's a legend. Smelly monkeys. Yeah, definitely. Is that where Warbucks got his attitude? Yep. Nice. Hmm. Okay. Interesting. I'll have to look it up. I mean, I'll have to poke around with a couple of them probably. Nice. Let's see. Oh, right. I didn't Dost thou in Hoist. Okay. We also do some arm curls and a few lifts just to keep up the arm strength because I get a pretty good workout with my legs, like, most days. But the arms basically just languish. Audiobook his character acted like Dr. Fraser Crane, yeah. Sees himself as so superior, yep. Alright, that's probably good. Now we do lift. And then up and over. Really don't want to hit the light. Alright. And then we return them back to the spot that they were on the floor. And now we have done no work. Hooray. Big listener of audiobooks. Yeah. I just pushed myself to basically extremes on sleep, unfortunately. I need to work on my sleep hygiene, obviously, because I've got all this going on right now. It works. I mean, it doesn't, but... Although tonight, let me tell you, doing great. Other nights, I'm on the verge of falling asleep. My Australian friend. No, we're not. I'm currently running this thing roughly in parallel for me running these planning sessions. So this was just a matter of like, why don't we get the ideas out here, and it sets aside some time for me to actually write, because otherwise I'm just kind of like throwing something together during the week, which doesn't always work. There were a couple of weeks where I literally did no planning, and I was just like, oh, this is bad. It worked, but it was just kind of like, okay. Kit, I wasn't given a whole lot of information. So the player hadn't really contacted me with stuff until like Friday last week. I was trying to get it ready for Sunday. I'm like, but so we've got this. I hadn't really thought about it, is really my problem. But then I realized that if we bring this together, what I want to have happen is essentially their lives are going to have, if it's not obvious enough, have some sort of phrase or feeling or something that's going to happen, which then relates 500 years ago to the ancient heroes. And it's like an exact parallel of them. Different situation, but like something is just fitting just right. Winging a prayer, yeah. A lot of I mean, I am a math teacher. It does happen more often than I like to admit. Okay, so Sandy's gonna end up. So Sandy's going to leave the heroes behind. She's a rogue. And then she's going to end up robbing the people who are coming out into the back alley to just relieve themselves from behind a tavern. And again, is this what I've come to is going to be the through line here. Fix. That's actually a good one, too. That could work as well. Okay, so trying to refurbish Bixby. The fusion core that he's connecting is going to spark white hot. Or the connections are anyway. He's going to basically go, oh shh, and then just black out. Wake up, 20 feet away, lying on the ground. Burns, pretty severe burns over hands, arm, neck, and chest. And there's a calm green glow from across the little, essentially hole inside of the junk heap that he's in, where he has found this Orean that he is trying to connect up. Bixby looks at Fix, says, "Greetings. Can I have this?" and reaches out and takes Fix's screwdriver, which is his magic wand, and then just leaves. After a minute of deciding what would result in less permanent damage, you opt to chase down the robot and save your psyche. The body is temporary, so is the damage. Hobbling along, you catch up with the loping android and begin discussing the customs of the world. How you can't just take things and... Oh, shit! You begin as your backward hopping ends up sending you sprawling down a hole. You hit the ground flat on your back, a crushing sensation working its way through your abdomen. "Are you okay?" Bixby asks. "Is this also one of your people's customs?" You let out a crushing groan, unable to form any coherent sounds or move at all. "Thank you for your time and information." Bixby's head disappears from the mouth of the hole. As the minutes stretch on, you finally get to finish your thought. Well, shit. And then flash backward to the Ancient, who's then, I think, going to be conscripted to help disarm a bomb. Which is possibly going to go off. Oh, I want it to go off because what I want to have happen is so mean. I want her to open the case, look in, and it says like 90,000, and she goes and puts it down, and then comes back, and it says 20,000. She's like, and then it turns to HOOOOO, and then go, oh shit. So again, the parallels between each of the groups, because if you flip it around, right, the H is not an H. That's a 4 on that end. Well, of course it's Sonic. It makes a noise. This is going to actually be a very important piece of information that they definitely have to have. So I'm going to have to. I'm going to have to expand on that. getting dangerously close to room temperature. Alright, conscripted into defusing a bomb. Pulls off the panel. Timer. Who's calling me from Baltimore? The hell? Yeah, you can leave a message. Jeez. 5 hours back. Would it be? Was that 8:30? Psh. So Bixby feels guilty. He realizes this is a new feeling. Feels worse for not helping. Let's see. Takes a screwdriver. Watches fix fall down the hole, assumes this is a custom. Effects after not receiving a response. Feels worse for not helping. Yeah. Yeah, no. This is good. He remembers helping someone else. Don't remember who it is or whatever, but snap back 500 years. Standing before Arnon Reed, who's a personal friend. We have talked about Arnon Reed before, so he's one of the other heroes. If we had a human, they would be getting a vision about him specifically. All right, personal friend. They're going to discuss the data plague, which is basically, if you've ever played Uplink, Revelation style. Basically, destroyer of all networks. It seeks out all network connections that it can between any computers and starts attacking the connections. Less the computers themselves, but also somewhat helpful in this case. And Bixby and Arnon are going to talk about Skyside Stronghold and the Sovereign. The creation of Runcible, who is the teddy bear of his son, Hob. He's going to call the council, Orean Council, discuss the locking away of the horsemen. He goes to Obsidian Peak in order to lock away Death. And then that is going to be where that scene ends. So in theory, it is possible that they're going to be unable to actually defeat the horsemen, in which case they need to find Oreans of the same company and try and find some sort of way to hack in, essentially, which is where extended tasks is definitely going to come in handy. Potentially going to figure that out. So this is the other thing, is that Oreans robots can't die. So they can be shut off for extremely long periods of time. And there is no connection between, or there isn't any posterity to pass down knowledge through the genetic line, because there is no genetic line. They're robots. Bixby is the original Bixby discrete from 500 years ago. So that is going to be the through line for his, that this feeling of guilt is not going to The feeling of guilt is going to be the same now as it was back then. Right, and then Al is our resident elf. So he's going to come home. His parents' house has been broken into. Mother implores him to save his sister, then dies. He's promoted to the detective corps, promoted to undercover, gradual, like, numbing. He has to do a proving job by kill another gangster, which he's like, yeah, all right, sure. Actually, son of the corrupt son of a guild what do I want them to be? That's fine. Right, do a proving job that is going to be kill the corrupt son of a guild premier. CEO, basically. No. Actually, that's a good one. Have to kill the corrupt son of a guild premier. Finds a child in the home and is like, whoa, that's messed up. And now you've just, reinforced the cycle of violence. What am I doing with my life? Goes and discovers the location of his sister from this. Finds her, but it's been 2 to 3 years since her disappearance. Who knows what awfulness she's done. She raises a gun toward him. So this is... She snuck up and put gun to his head. He talks her down. After months of therapy, she goes and commits suicide. I'm on my own. Flash forward to last week, 2 weeks ago. Discover that War is in charge. Realization that he's on his own again. Alright, Liesl Reed, wife of Arnon Reed, pregnant, writes her final goodbye to her husband. It's been several months since they've seen each other. Their son, Hob, died in an accident with Runcible. She wasn't there to save him. She gives the that child, up for adoption. Walks into the rust waste, determined to meet Arnon in this life or next. Realization I'm on my own. I think I want to come up with one for Cog, but he's not... he's around, but he's not really part of the story anymore. So that's gonna... Okay. I still didn't do the puzzle. The hangar. This is like 3 hours prior to where we are now. All right. Alright, so we didn't actually do the puzzle that I meant to, but it is getting on to be 1:45, and we should probably get going. So, we have SDK Phoenix doing some repo. Sometimes a Tom is doing Silent Hill 2, but I suspect he is going to be leaving very soon because he is also in British summertime right now. And that would be just bonkers for him to stay up pretty much any longer at all. Shark Geek doing Thalassophobia. Could be fun. Yeah, let's go see Shark Geek. All right, today is, well, I guess now it's Friday. I will be back tomorrow for more, I believe, Baldur's Gate 3, and we'll see where we're going with that. I hope you all have a lovely evening, night, morning, wherever you're at, and we'll let you get on with your day. As I said, we'll be back tomorrow for Baldur's Gate and see how things are going. Anyway, hope you have a lovely rest of your day, and we'll see you next time. My name's Obi-Wan Pez. This is N Simplex Pachinko. Catch you next time.